Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Aditya, and today I wanted to make a small announcement and introduce a new project or initiative that I'm working on. And as you can see, I've chose to name it Launchbase. So currently, this is just a project that I'm working on, hasn't been really completed, but I'll be working on it over the next few days and next few weeks as I continue to work on it. And as I talk about this video, you can also see in the description that I have a few links. So you can actually see my progress as I work on this project day by day. And you can ask questions, you can contribute if you're interested in this work, or if you just want to stay updated and see what's going on, that's fine too. So anyways, I've talked about all this. First, let me introduce the actual topic or reason why I've started this initiative. So Launchbase is a new kind of startup community and platform that I wanted to start. So recently, I've started to get more involved in this startup ecosystem, different people coming up with these new innovative ideas and starting businesses. But what I've realized is this community is quite closed and it's not very transparent, especially as a newcomer. It's very hard to get into this community, get to know people, and launch one of your own ideas. So I wanted to create a platform where people of all age groups, whether you're a high school student, a college student, or an industry professional with 5 to 10 years of experience, it really doesn't matter. Where you have a place to freely interact, post your ideas, and a place where you will be able to test or validate these ideas in the real world from your followers or from anyone in the community, really. And if your idea seems to get traction and if a lot of people seem to be interested, or maybe they have a few issues with their ideas, let's say you tweak those ideas, get it ready, and then you feel it's at a stage where things seem really good and you want to actually work on the idea and start or launch it. So then it's an actual it's an actual company, it's a real thing. You're going to start working on it, and then once you start working on it, there are different phases that you go through. You have the initial phase where you're just working on developing the product and getting it ready. Then when you actually launch and get it out and you have your first user or first 2 3 users, and then you're going to be able to get their feedback, and then maybe you grow to hundreds or thousands of users. So there are different phases or stages, and during each phase and stage you will have your own unique difficulties that you will need to face. Getting funding is going to be difficult, or maybe you're having some difficulties hiring talent to work on your startup. So these are a few of the common challenges that people face, and I want to reduce these frictions as much as possible and create a platform that is truly centered around founders or entrepreneurs. So let's say you have a difficulty with hiring. You might not have the funds to hire someone and pay them salary. So maybe you can, maybe we can help you connect with like-minded individuals, someone who has discovered your company on a launch base and is eagerly waiting to work for you. And maybe he also does not expect a traditional salary compensation. Maybe he is okay working for equity. So in that case, it's a win-win situation for both the founders and the for the talent that you're hiring. So I'm trying to reduce these frictions as much as possible and create a platform to allow this to happen. So this is the idea. This is why I am building it, and let's see how it goes. I'm starting to work on this platform, fully web-based right now, and hopefully I can get it out as soon as possible. And as I said, if you're interested, I would like to get your feedback, and I'd like to work with you too. So that's just brief introduction. Hopefully, this has given you some context. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through what I've actually worked on, because this is something that I want to do in the future. Every day, or at least every 2 days, or at least once in a week, I want to create an update or a progress video so that you can keep track of my progress and sorts of it sort of makes me accountable to what I'm doing. So I'm going to start doing this, and this is the first video. So I'm going to start off with this. I'll walk you through the different screens of the website. It's extremely bare bones. You can see with the simple monospace font and the design. I want to make it look nice. At the same time, I want to make it very simplistic and minimal. Not only because it's a design choice that I've chosen, but also because I don't want to waste too much time in non-essential details like this. So, anyways, let me quickly walk you through the website, and maybe I can walk you through the code also, because if anyone wants to work on the website, then that might be useful for you too. So as you can see, this is this was supposed to be my home page, but I've not gotten to that. As I said, non-essential for now. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to log out because I want to show you the experience right from the beginning. So this is the login screen, and what I chose to do is make it fully passwordless. Right from the beginning, I don't want to even allow a chance for someone to get access to your account, make it get it compromised just because they stole your passport or you're using sorry password just because you used a weak password. So I thought, why not just eliminate this right from the beginning? We will fully keep you signed in just using your email address, and I want to make it as easy as possible. In the future, I want to integrate other federated logins like Google, Twitter, Facebook, or GitHub. But for now, I've just chosen to go with the email route. So I can log in with an account using my email like this, or if you don't have an account, you can sign up over here. But both the sign up and login process is basically the same. So I enter my email, and then when I click on next or hit enter, this checks the account details and then it sends me an email. So if you've not gotten the email, you can always resend the email, but I'm just going to check for the code that I received. Maybe I can quickly switch over to my email so you can see how it looks. So I have just received the code. I'm going to see if I can switch over. Um, yeah, so this is my email. You can see that I received the code in my email. This is, by the way, if you want to know, this is done using, I'm using SendGrid to send the emails. So once that's done, I'm going to go back to the other screen, the other window. So now that I've copied the code, I can go over here, paste the code, and I'll be logged in. So this screen is actually not ready, as you can see, quite bare bones. But anyways, this is the first thing that you will see once you get logged in. And for now at least, the plan is I split it up into four main sections. Backstage is basically your settings. So the first place is for ideas, right? Ideas that you have, ideas that everyone else in the community has. We post the ideas, and then in one simple screen, we have a couple of latest ideas. So literally the ideas as they come in. So let's say you have this screen right now, and then someone else a few seconds later he posts an idea. So you can see that update on the screen, and that's the latest ideas ranked um, in descending order according to time. So the latest idea that's come out, and then the hottest ideas would be the ones which have the highest number of upvotes, which people seem to really like and are really interested in seeing what happens. So that is this, and I'll show you the code also. But basically, to my knowledge, I think at least for now, all the APIs are ready. The backend REST APIs are ready for all of this. So creating new ideas, viewing a draft ideas, published ideas, user roles, being an admin or a member, all that sort of stuff. I just got it ready. I just need to integrate it with the UI in the front. So anyways, I'll show a demo of the backend code also. And then the real thing is going to be the tab where you have actual real companies that are actually either working on the product or have already launched, and you will be able to interact with the founders. And I'm thinking entire platform will be free to use, but for the real companies alone, I'm thinking we can have sort of a subscription model. I'm thinking for now, maybe sort of like how YouTube does memberships, where the company that chooses to use Launchbase, they can set a nominal subscription fee, monthly subscription fee as they choose, and we can take a small cut for hosting it. and users can decide to subscribe to whatever company they would like to, and they sort of become their loyal followers and early adopters, and something that they can really get access to. So I'm thinking that's how this would be. And perks would be any sort of discounts, offers that we'll be able to avail to members of Launchbase, and especially to the founders. And then we have backstage, which most of the stuff here is ready. So basically, your profile, which you can create and share with everyone, your email settings. Basically, if you want to show your email publicly to other people, and if you want to receive announcements and updates from Launchbase, and then security. So if you want to log out of all devices or just log out of this device, and then I'm thinking we can have a DM section where you can send direct messages to other users or members on Launchbase. My goal is to make this very simple. I don't want to complicate this at all because there are plenty of other platforms where you can message other people and contact them. Launchbase should just be the first step. So you meet someone, you find someone on Launchbase, you seem to like what they're doing. If you can't directly get in contact with them through one of their social media accounts or through their email, you can send them a DM on the platform and get in contact from them through that. And after that, you can take care of things through one of the other messaging platforms. And then obviously you have your notifications. So that's all I've got for now, at least on the UI side. Maybe what I can do is quickly switch over to the code to show you how I've structured it, what I'm working on, so that if there's anyone interested in contributing, you can get started. So I'm just going to pause the video and I will switch over to the code screen. Okay, so here I have VS Code open and this is the project. Again, in the description, you will have a link to my GitHub profile and this repository, the public repository, and you should be able to access it. And just a few things to get out of the way. Built using Node.js, and I'm using Fastify to as a sort of like a framework to organize everything as opposed to Express. Based on my research, I just like the way Fastify was had a very minimal overhead and was quite quick and fast and minimal, and also their plugin ecosystem was something that was quite nice to use. So I decided to go with this, and of course, things might change down the road, but that's at least how I started with. And I'm just going to quickly open the package or JSON to give you an idea of how the project is laid out. So you want to start the project, just run the start script. The dev script uses nodemon, so it watches file changes and restarts the server. That will come in handy. And dependencies, not a lot, but just to give you some context, I'm using MongoDB as the primary database to store everything. Redis I am using to store the JWT JSON Web Token, JSON Web Tokens for authentication. So every time someone logs in, we generate the JWT and store some information as in the payload. And of course, one of the advantages of using a JWT is you don't need to store it. We don't need to manage the tokens and store them. It's stateless. So all we need to do is verify the token. But I wanted to have a way where we can revoke tokens, so that if someone decides their account has been compromised, we want to be able to revoke the token so that no one else can use it. So I decided to use a kind of hybrid approach. So I'm using JWTs, but I'm going to be storing them in Redis. So we have fast access to them, and only if the token exists in the Redis database, only then we allow them to access any of the contents. So that's how the authentication works. Anyways, I'll give you a detailed dive further into the video or in upcoming videos. Then, as I said, I'm using SendGrid to send emails. Fastify, as I said, I'm using as opposed to something like Express. I have handlebars installed. I was planning of using it, but until now I have not. What I thought is for a lot of the pages, I want the website to feel very fast. As I said, it needs to feel minimal, simple, responsive. Whoever it is, a developer, a professional, a teacher, I want the website to feel very intuitive, natural, and fast. So I don't want it to have a laggy feel of like a single page application. So what I thought is, let's not even use SSR and pre-render the page. Let's try to have it basic minimal HTML as much as possible. So the moment the request comes, a page is loaded, we send the HTML as fast as possible, and they have a page that they can see and interact with, and then we load in any other content through JavaScript later. So that's the approach I've taken for now. I might change that later on. And as I said, I've used JSON Web Tokens for authentication. And Nano ID is one package I've used in one place to generate the, the I'm sorry, the numeric one-time password, during logins and signups, as you saw in the demo initially. And also, I've used ESLint just to have some format and structure to the code, especially during collaboration, so that we follow consistent style. So as you can see on this side, this is the structure of the project. You can see the source folder and the public folder. And by the way, I'm using PNPM. You should have seen the PNPM log file. So if you guys use PNPM also, that would be highly recommended for a lot of performance and optimization reasons. Anyways, coming back, we have a public folder where all the HTML files, any assets, static assets like images or JavaScript files, they're all over here and organized. And in the templates folder, I have all the HTML files. So the reason I put the HTML files in a separate folder called templates is because I don't want these to be accessible when you go directly to that route. So when you go to launchbase.com/index.html, I don't want that file. No, I don't want to serve that file when you go to /index.html. When you just go to launchbase.com, that particular route, then I want to send the HTML file only when you go to the route that I specified. So I've separated these two, all the HTML files into templates and everything else into assets, because assets, they're just publicly available. You can directly go. It's directly going to serve you these files, but not for templates. Only the files that I specify the routes, only those are going to be served. And then you have the source folder, everything else is dumped into this. So the server.js is the entry point into the application. This is what is run. And as I said, everything is Fastify. I'm going to give a quick walkthrough. I'm not going to explain everything in detail. These two, this block of code is the static files that I explained inside the public directory. And then these are the plugins that are registered for the MongoDB and the Redis connectors. That's there in the DB file. And then we're loading in some of our config. I'm not going to show it for security reasons, but in this .env file, you load the you load some of the environment variables, especially the secrets, your API keys and stuff like that. And as I said, the template engine I've not used yet. Handlebars, it's there, it's all set up, but I have not used it yet. And this is what I'm doing for authentication. So every time a request comes, we check for the authentication header, we verify it, and if everything goes fine, if we think that this is an authenticated user, we are going to decorate the request object, this REQ, this request object, with a user and a token. So the user is going to be the user's ID, which is just the ID that MongoDB gives us. So we have a users collection MongoDB for every user. There's a document in that, and the ID, MongoDB object ID that MongoDB automatically assigns, that is going to be our unique user ID, and we're going to decorate the request object with that ID. And then we also decorate it with the token property. So that is just going to be the JSON Web Token as is, and this will be required for another step that I'll be talking about later. And so that's all. I mean, that's this page is the entry point. And as you can see, I've registered all my own custom plugins. So these are other routes, specific routes that I've organized. So I can go over some of them in detail. So you can go into the routes folder, and then you have two pages. I'm sorry, two directories. So the pages directory currently just has one file. These are all the endpoints where we just send those static HTML files. That's the reason I had the separate templates folder. And then once you go into the API directory, that is where you have all the REST APIs. So let's say we're starting with the auth one. So for authentication, you can see we have a couple of directories over here. So first is going to be our send email verification directory, sorry, endpoint. And this is the endpoint that you're going to call whenever you're logging in or signing up. So you give your email, you say I want to log in, or you say I want to sign up. This does a couple of checks, and then it's going to do a couple of things. So I'm going to attach one more link in the description, which is a link to another video where I explain this entire authentication flow. So that's going to give you some details. So anyways, that is this endpoint. Then once you get your code, you send a request to this endpoint, the verify code endpoint. So here we're going to check if the code is valid, if it's not expired, and all of those stuff. And then if everything goes fine, we either log you in or create a new account and sign you up. And then we have a couple of other you know endpoints left. So it's video is going to get quite long if I explain everything. I don't want to take up too much time, but basically I have all the REST APIs for the features that I showed you in the demo. And the ideas folder has a couple of other REST APIs. I've not actually demoed because I didn't have it, I didn't have time to integrate it yet. I'll be doing it today or tomorrow, and once I do that, I'll have the next video ready and I'll show you the demo. So that's all for this video. I'm going to wrap up the video. Thank you so much for watching. I this is some this is a project that I really believe in because I feel entrepreneurs and these founders, they're in some sense, the pillars of our society. They're the ones that our society is centered around. They're the amazing people that innovate and come up with such amazing ideas. I mean, you think about it, companies like WhatsApp or any popular company that you think of, at one point of time, no one knew about it. It was such a small company with 2 to 5 members, and now that's what the entire world runs on. So they have potential for huge change, and they're the ones that drive changes in our society. If you want something done, the way I believe it is, don't wait for anyone, just go and do it yourself. So this is something that I really believe in, and I hope that I'll be able to work on this project and get it out as soon as possible, and hopefully it'll get good traction, and I'll be able to iterate based on feedback that I get from all of you. So if you like it, please, of course, your likes are definitely welcome. But more than that, I'll really appreciate you sending comments for this video. And even if you don't want to send comments, please personally to me. I'm going to give my email in the description. If you can send an email to me, directly to me, that will be really appreciated. And I thank you for your time. So, anyways, thank you for watching. I'll be out to the next video, maybe in a day or two.